Hey guys, it's Pavi. I needed to jump on here even though it's past midnight in Portugal just to say a huge congratulations to Novak Djokovic winning his first ever Olympic gold medal for Serbia today. He first tried to win a medal in 2008, got to the bronze medal stage and never after that got better or another medal, and it's 16 years later in 2024 at the age of 37 Novak Djokovic wins a men's singles gold medal for Serbia with one of his best performances of the year without doubt, and probably for a very long time. 7-6, 7-6 in just under 3 hours against the most informed player of the year, the very talented Carlos Alcaraz, who had just won back-to-back at Roland Garros, at Wimbledon, playing on his favourite surface, clay. He hadn't lost a single set. Getting to the final, he was playing sublime tennis. A lot of people were saying Djokovic was not going to be able to compete with him, let alone beat him. And Djokovic beat him in 2 straight sets, just under 3 hours. And yeah, it's been a day of celebration, just, looking at Djokovic and what it means to him. I've never seen him so emotional with his final point today. You know, he was visibly crying and shaking for not just seconds, for a number of minutes. And it was just everything that he's gone through, not just the Olympic gold medal. Obviously that's been playing on his mind because that's really the only bit of his CV in tennis that he hasn't had up until this point. So that was always the question mark. Yes, you've won Grand Slams. Yes, you've won the most Masters. Yes, you've been at number 1 for the longest weeks, but you haven't got an Olympic gold. And it was something that the haters kind of used a lot, just to kind of say, well, yeah, you haven't got Olympic gold, so you're not worthy. And that's been festering for years, particularly from Nadal fans, obviously, because he's got a gold medal. A lot of them would say, well, Djokovic hasn't got that, and they can't say that now. So that was years of all of those question marks. But I think Djokovic broke down a lot recently because of what's happened in the last few months. He was poorly in Australia. He had a fever, so he had some really bad luck, and he had no sympathy at all. And he was clearly not himself when he lost to Jannik Sinner. And he was suffering from fever for pretty much all of the Australian Open. So the fact that he got to the semi-final was phenomenal in itself. And then he took a few months break, and he wasn't really that motivated to do well in Indian Wells, and he had a few early round defeats, but nothing major, because Djokovic said at the start of the season that his main focus this year was to win an Olympic gold for Serbia, and he's accomplished that. And Djokovic was saying that his main focus, aside from the Olympics, was to focus on the slams. And what had happened to Djokovic before that, obviously we had the bottle incident in Rome, which curtailed his chances in that particular event and also hindered his preparation for the French Open. Again, no sympathy from anyone. Oh, it was an accident, and the level of duty of care that he had, no one seemed to care about, because it was Novak Djokovic. If it happened to any other player, there would be outrage and uproar and a lot of sympathy, but there was none of that for Djokovic. He then has to play a tennis match at 3:30 a.m. in a Grand Slam at Roland Garros, which was, anyone who knows anything about sport, even if you're not a pro athlete and you just play sport for fun, you will know that the most important thing for anyone who plays sports for athletes is rest and recovery. And if you don't get that, you're then prone to more injuries. And Djokovic, having a whole day of no sleep, essentially, would have messed his whole system up. It would have made him more susceptible to have an injury, which is exactly what happened in his 4th round match against Cerundolo. And he had a meniscus tear, obviously, and what even made it worse was that he knew that the court that he was playing on was slippy, and he asked for it to be addressed by the grounds staff, and it was declined. Again, zero sympathy. He then had to withdraw from the quarter-final of the French Open just when he was picking up his game and building momentum. He then obviously has to undergo the surgery, which he did with what we know now is he wanted to try and play at Wimbledon, and he did. And the fact that he played Wimbledon and made it to the final was phenomenal.